Hello again, my beautiful sacred feminine. Thank you so much for being here today. I wanted to talk a little bit about the different terms that I use quite a lot: sacred feminine and wounded feminine. What do I mean when I'm talking about that? So, I see the wounded feminine energies is what we're just really working to move out of. We're on two different ends of the spectrum. Like, we have fear on one end of the spectrum and love on the other end of the spectrum. There's a polarity right there. They're both ways that we can show up in this world, and ways, feelings and emotions and energies that we can tap into and that can really permeate our existence. That's just what this 3D reality is made out of. In different dimensions, not such a thing. Fear isn't quite the thing, but here on Earth, we're really working with those energies a lot, and fear is the prevalent energy of this world right now. We're moving out of that, I trust, and so much is supporting us to move more towards love. But fear is really heavy on the planet, and it's perpetrated. It's, you watch the news, it's all fear, fear, fear. That's a great example of what is celebrated in this society and what is pushed. It's all fear-based agendas, right? If you tap into that, you can also tap into other things that are not so fear-based, but we have to make very conscious choices to move towards higher vibe frequencies, because the dominant energy is that of fear, and that is what is pushed upon us from really birth, day one. Conforming into certain roles, ways of being, ways of relating, and expressing, for fear that if we don't conform, we're not going to be held and loved and cared for and supported and nourished just as we are. So it's real fear, fear, fear. We learn so many ways to avoid being who we are, and avoid that shunning and shaming of our true essence and our true nature. So the wounded feminine is the fear-based expression of the feminine energies. The sacred feminine or divine feminine is also used a lot. I go with sacred. I don't know why, but actually I do know why. Sacred to me feels a little more grounded. Divine feminine feels kind of a little more, I don't know, ethereal. So sacred to me feels a little more earth-based. So for whatever reason, that's just how it resonates with me, and it might be totally different for you. So I use sacred feminine more than the divine feminine, but it's all the feminine energies, the higher expressions of the feminine energies. So the sacred feminine or divine feminine is more towards the side of love, the loving expression of the feminine energies. And again, like, a lesson that I keep learning over and over, and that keeps showing up for me, is polarity versus duality. So polarity means that both of these energies are on the same end of a spectrum. Duality means that, like, one energy is against the other energy, and there's two different forces, kind of opposing forces. And if you work with things at a polarity, it's no longer such a fight, and there's not such aggression. You don't have to dominate or conquer the other one. You just recognize that, okay, I've been really maybe over here in wounded feminine too much, and I want to move over here. It's the same feminine energies, but just different expressions of them, versus one is good, one is bad. We're really trying to move out of that state of experience, good versus bad. None of it, there's no judgment to any of this at all. Wounded feminine is not bad. Sacred feminine is not good. It just is more nourishing for us, and we feel more in alignment when we're moving on the side of love. That's just the truth of it, but they are just energies without any judgment. And I know that can be a hard concept to kind of wrap our minds around, because the wounded feminine doesn't feel good. Those energies just like, ugh, it's not pleasant. But that's our human experience of it. In the bigger scheme of things, there's no good or bad. So the wounded feminine really shows up for us in, for me, what I've really experienced is a lot of bitterness and anger, and it can be rage. There's like this deep underlying, like, it's real fear-based, fear of not getting our needs met, not being seen, not being loved, unable to tap into our creativity because it's just been so, shoved down into a little box, and we're scared to like express because we're scared of what people might think of us when we're, being in our true power and being our full selves. So many rules and regulations and expectations put on us again from day one of how we're supposed to be to fit into society. And it's a patriarchal society. Not that men aren't dealing with this too. Certainly they have their own rules and limitations and conditioning that they have to conform to in order to be accepted. But, we're focusing on the feminine right now. So where was I? Okay, so yeah, sexuality is a really big piece of the wounded feminine, really wounded experience of our sexuality, through so much abuse, trauma, generations of abuse and trauma, sexual abuse, and shunned and shamed, and our bodies have been very perverted and distorted through the patriarchy, through the religious, domination that's happening on the planet. A real disconnect from our bodies, a real disconnect from the earth, which is a feminine energy. The raping and pillaging of the earth is exactly what's happened to women, the raping and pillaging and just taking us for granted and repressing us, men taking what they want from us, and not treating us as equal citizens. And I'm not going to get too much into that, but that's just been the experience up until now, right? So the wounded feminine, she's pissed off. She's pissed off that she hasn't been able to express, and she's bitter, and she's angry, she's sad, she's lonely, she's frustrated, she's really out of touch with her sexuality, she's self-destructive, because she's just not able to take care of herself, she's not able to love fully, she's not able to receive love, in a full, nourishing way. She's just very codependent in unhealthy relationships, doesn't know how to set strong boundaries for herself, just getting attention in maybe lots of the wrong ways. This is how we attract these relationships. It's like anything will do, oh, you're paying attention to me, I'm going to take that because I think that's okay, and I'm afraid to be alone. There's that fear of being alone, fear of doing what's right for us, fear of not being, again, held and loved and seen and cared for. There's so many ways that fear shows up for us, right? So that is, in a nutshell, the wounded feminine. And so on the other end of the spectrum is the sacred feminine, the divine feminine, the healthy expressions of the feminine energy, caring, and not caring in an unhealthy way, but just her heart is open, she's loving, she's got strong boundaries, she doesn't have to worry about how she's caring for people or what that looks like, because she's strong in her power and she's strong in herself, and she knows how to have good boundaries. There's no codependency. She's strong in her creativity, she's tapped into her solar plexus, her power, her light. She shines it brightly, she's shining, because she knows who she is, and she's confident, she knows she's held, she's loved, she's seen. And I don't mean by people, but I mean the universe, by source, by her whoever she's tapped into spiritually, by the energy, she just knows she belongs here on the planet. She belongs. She's beautiful just as she is. She doesn't have to look a certain way or be a certain way to receive love. That's a big piece of it, just shining brightly and doing whatever works for her. She's not conforming. She's not feeling like she has to do what is expected of her based on society, based on relationships, based on the family structure, whatever has been told to her. She's just strong. She's connected to her sexuality, whatever that looks like for her. Sexuality doesn't mean you have to be having sex. It's just you're strong in yourself and you're like, yeah, I can take it or I can leave it, or yeah, this really does it for me, or maybe this doesn't, but I don't need to do it to prove anything to anybody, and especially to myself. She's confident in who she is, and she's just shining it bright. So let's see what else. She's just making choices and decisions for herself based on her strength and what is right for her. She's not conforming. That's a really big piece of this, because we have had to keep ourselves so small for so long for fear of persecution, basically, and not being loved and not being held and ostracized. So That I'm wondering if I tapped into everything. There's a lack mentality also in the wounded feminine, really a fear of not getting her needs met. So there's a lot of manipulation, and that can be emotional manipulation. And a lot of this is unconscious. We don't like set out, oh, I'm going to manipulate this situation or this person to get my needs met. It's just kind of under the surface and running amok. And we're doing behaviors that are just like, maybe that doesn't feel so good, but I don't know how else to get my needs met, and this is what I've learned, and this is what has worked for me in the past. It works, but it doesn't work because we don't feel good about ourselves ultimately, which is, again, then there's the self-worth issues that come in, and we're not strong, we're not confident in ourselves, and we're doing things to get our needs met that really don't feel good, but we're afraid if we don't, we're not going to. And that's the wounded feminine over there, that lack mentality, scarcity consciousness. There's only a tiny bit of love to go around. And if I don't get it in whatever way I need to, I'm not going to get anything, and I'm going to be alone and not cared for. And if I do have any attention over here, I'm going to hold on to it like crazy, because if I lose it, I'll be all alone. So people stay in unhealthy relationships. They stay in jobs that aren't healthy for them. They stay in so many different situations because they're so scared to leave, because it's like, oh, at least I've got something. I better hold on to this because I'm so scared to go over here. I'm so scared I won't be met. I won't be held. I won't be seen. That's the wounded feminine over here. With the sacred feminine, there is enough love for everybody. There is more than enough. We are love. That is what we are made out of. That is the reality of this situation. When you take away all that fear, we stop living, we stop vibing at those low vibe frequencies, and we're over here in the high vibe. We know there's enough love. We are love. We love ourselves. So we don't need any external forces or factors or situations to tell us that we're loved, to help us to feel like we belong and we're worthy of being held and loved and seen. I keep saying that, but it's such a big piece, that self-worth piece, So much of us have just been, and I'm coming from my own experience, crawling out of that unworthiness thing and not feeling valued, and that what I have to offer is good enough, comparing myself to others, and what are people doing? What do people think of me? Am I good enough? Have I done enough of this? Have I done enough of that? Am I conforming? Am I living life the way I'm supposed to? I'm not. I never really have. And so that's been a real struggle. I've amplified it for myself, but I'm not going to get too much into my own issues here. But I just really wanted to talk about, that's what I mean when I'm talking about wounded feminine and sacred feminine. Everything that I'm doing and everything that I'm offering is about helping us to move from this wounded, fear-based energy over here into the sacred feminine, love-based energies, This new program I have coming out, which is all about that. It's all about recognizing the wounded feminine, how it shows up in ourselves, where it came from, because we've inherited so much of this stuff. A lot of it we picked up in our own lifetime, but really it's in the collective. It's what's been going on for generations, for thousands of years. The patriarchy has ruled, and we've just really taken that on. The energy flows, it flows. We can't be born out of a feminine body that is rife with her own wounded feminine and expect to be in this healthy feminine place, this sacred feminine energies. It just doesn't work like that. We are actually made of this wounded energy. So we have to really get deep down in there and clear out that energy by bringing it to our conscious. This is the writing piece of this program. There's education. We learn about this. We learn about the wounded feminine. We learn about ancestral trauma. We learn about where it came from, how we've inherited it, and we learn about the grief, the symptoms, how it's manifesting in our life, what is happening, so we can see it. If we can't see it and we don't understand what's happening, we just keep shooting in the dark blindly, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this self-help book, and something's still missing. I still have angst and anguish and pain, and I'm angry, and I don't know why. Why am I so mad at the masculine? Why am I so pissed off? I've done all this work. I've been opening my heart. I've been doing all this stuff, but I'm still angry under there. I feel this anger. It's not like I'm running around yelling it all the time, but there's something that's really upset in me, and I'm having a hard time getting to it. So we're going to get into all of that and really get into the energetics of it. We'll be using the mind to bring it to the conscious and get understanding of it, but we're going to bypass the mind because we're too much in the mind. We're going into the body, we're going into our energy field, and we're going to like bring that up. And then with the energy and sound healing sessions, weekly sessions, we're going to clear that out. We're going to clear that out. And once it's clear, that's it. It doesn't mean when you get done with this program, there's not going to be anything left to work on. There is. It's the journey. It's the human journey. We're always going to have stuff to work with, but this is going to give you a really huge leg up. And we're going to understand, again, once we have the consciousness and we know what we're working with and we have the awareness and we can recognize it like, oh, that's my wounded feminine right there. Okay, I don't have to like dive into that. I don't have to like identify with that so much. What do I need to do to move over into this more loving place? And that's not like just, okay, we're going to do some affirmations and move over here. It's unfortunately not quite that simple, but there's a lot to it. So we're going to do a ritual. We're going to really get into that and tap into our own feminine powers, our own sacred feminine energies, and they're going to be very personalized for you. What does it mean for you? What is a sacred feminine to you? I'm telling you what it is for me, but what is it for you? You're going to learn yourself. You're going to learn what your energies are about. What is your pain and trauma? What is your grief? What is your joy and beauty? And like, whoa, what makes your heart sing and your soul sing? And how can you tap into that more? Let's see. Then we're going to have group sessions. We have weekly group sessions. We're going to connect with the other women in our tribe. What is everybody else working through, and really get that support and that nourishment and come together as women, this beautiful sacred feminine energy, and support each other through our wounded feminine, help each other to recognize it and see and like, oh, wow. Okay. And just a lot of support around this because we need that. We've been doing this big heavy work, especially over the last few years. A lot's been coming up, so now it's time to really like clear and release all that. And the energy healing is so powerful for that. I just can't even tell you enough. But let's see what else is going on. The first half of the program, we're really working with that wounded feminine energy and getting very clear on it and clear on the grief around it and how that's affecting our lives. The second half of the program, we're going to be tapping into more of our sacred feminine energies, because it's like, yes, okay, all of this, and now what? Okay, I get where I've been. I get those energies. It doesn't mean we live there all the time. I'm not like in wounded feminine all the time. I've just got those energies that I'm always working with, and I've done a lot of work. So I'm more in the sacred feminine for sure, but it doesn't mean it doesn't come up. There's stuff. This is deep shit here, right? I mean, really. So recognizing it, owning it, there it is, moving out of victim consciousness. It's a huge piece of this. We can't be like, oh, the patriarchy, if only, blah, blah. No. It's all arises together. This is what we're working with, and that's what we got. Let's own it and step into our power around it and go, yep, there's that. And now what? How do I move over here without blame, shame? That's another piece of the wounded feminine, blaming. There's a lot of victim consciousness, blaming others for where we are. If this hadn't happened, if I hadn't been abused in this way, if only my parents this, if society had this, if blah, 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 that's not going to get us anywhere. And I get that a lot of us start off in that place when we start on our healing journey, and we're in that anger, we're in that rage, we want to blame somebody, we want somebody to pay for our experience, but and that's valid. I totally get that. Been there myself, been there, done that for many years. The first half of my life, I was pissed off, but okay, now what? Now it's time to like own it. Like, yep, that's true. That's all real. That's there. And now how do I move out of that? Because it doesn't feel good, and blaming isn't getting me anywhere. It just isn't. It's not getting us to where we want to be, which is in that sacred feminine space, in that love, in that self-love, and really caring deeply for ourselves and knowing ourselves, knowing the truth of our being. So, so the second half of the program is, all right, what's the sacred feminine that I want to embody? What is that? And what are those energies for me? What does it look like for me? How do I tap into that? And how do I like bring that in? What are the tools? What are my passion and purpose? We're not going to dive into purpose. That we're all going to discover that for ourselves as we go along our journey, right? But it's going to give you the tools to really help you learn yourself and learn what are the sacred feminine energies that you want to move towards, and that you do embody. Let's look at our strengths and the beauty of us and really tap into that. A lot of us can be really stuck in some negative stuff, negative self-talk, low sense of self-worth, but let's look at the beautiful things about ourselves and tap into those, and move out of that to over here. So we're really this program involves a lot of ancestor healing, because again, that intergenerational trauma, that inherited trauma, if we don't, we need to heal it backwards and forwards, for ourselves. When we do the healing work for ourselves, it clears it for our ancestors. So there's definitely a focus on that, because we're interrupting it. And when we clear it back, it just no longer exists, and it clears it from our ancestors, which stops it. It stops the patterns from continuing on into the next generations. Because when we have children, what do you think happens? All this wounded feminine shit goes right into them. They are us. Again, they can't be born out of a wounded energy and expect to be all healthy. They're going to take our energy forward. The more work we do on ourselves and the more we clear this, we're clearing it from the planet. Not only from yourselves, not only from your ancestors, not only from the future generations, your children. We're clearing it from the planet, which is huge. We're changing the landscape of the planet, the energetic scape of the planet. I don't know if that's really a term, but sounds like a big mission, doesn't it? But that's what we're doing here. That's what's going to happen. The more we heal ourselves, the more we heal the planet, and we heal each other. So that's my mission, my vision, my passion, my purpose. Do you feel the passion? I'm really into this for us. I'm so excited. I'm excited for you to check out this program and learn more about what I'm talking about. We got the full curriculum on there. You can go through it and see, like, what does this speak to me? There's a little video on there talking more about the program. And if you're just here to learn more about sacred feminine, and wounded feminine, that's great too. But yeah, get on my email list. There's a lot going on. I have monthly events, drum circles, with the full moon and the new moon. We've got the equinox coming up here. Lots of other things. I'm on a pilgrimage right now, going around the country, connecting with women and holding sound spaces to help heal this grief and this sorrow and clear this wounded feminine energy. So where are you? Let's connect. Let's collaborate. I would love to. Check out below. I'll have a link to my campaign page, my pilgrimage page, so you can check that out and see what I'm doing there. And yeah, I'm right now, I'm in California. I'm heading to Arizona in a few days, and then I'll be in New Mexico, and then in Texas. And then I'll be heading north, because it's gonna start getting really warm in the southern part of the country. So I love warm, but not hot and humid, So I'll be heading north, and maybe the Pacific Northwest. I'm not sure. Colorado, definitely. So if you're in any of these areas and would like to collaborate, and you know what, it's actually, we can do so much online, so it really doesn't matter if you're in any of those areas. If you would like to get together and organize a drum circle, a Zoom drum thing, they work really well. They're great. Or anything else to support the healing of the wounded feminine and stepping stronger into our sacred feminine, reach out, let me know. Let's collaborate. Let's create something together. It's going to be awesome. So, I think that might be it right now. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so thrilled to be connecting with you. And yeah, check out the program page. It is a powerful thing going on. And again, this is distance healing. So you can receive the sessions, the weekly energy sound healing sessions are distance. So you can receive from anywhere on the planet, and everything is set up in an online format. So you can be anywhere. It doesn't really matter. It's a lovely thing. Yay for this quantum world that we're in now, this new quantum understanding and reality. So time and space are no longer relevant the way they used to be. That some of the structures were breaking down, right? That old conditioning, old limitations. Time and space are not a limitation anymore. So yay. Okay. I can talk. Woo. All right. So nice connecting with you, and I hope you have a lovely day. And if you have any more questions about the wounded feminine or sacred feminine, let me know. Comment below, and or reach out to me on my website. And also know that I have single sessions available if you want to check those out before an energy sound healing session. If you want to check that out, check out my website. You know, I use sound, a lot of sound. So crystal bowls, drums, rattles, all sorts of different frequencies, tuning forks, crystals, plants, plant frequencies, herbs, and just really powerful. So, and Reiki, all sorts of stuff comes into this session. It's just super powered and just amazing. So we're going to clear some big stuff for you. So, so yeah, if you want to check those out before committing to the program, I totally get that, and you're going to love it. And we're going to rock your world. So, okay, everyone, thank you again. Bye.